Hello friends, welcome back to Three Barrow Farm and to our November garden tour. We have had the most beautiful, gentle rain overnight, and it just started raining before, so this is a few moments after I did that intro. Welcome to my garden, friends. I am not really going to show you patch number 1 because it's kind of, well, hey, here we go. I'll show you. Okay, here we are. Welcome to a very weedy, grassy patch. We just have the rhubarbs going down this patch here. We're going to be reworking this space and it's going to be quite different. So I'm just leaving it as it is at the moment. I've got a few sunflowers coming up. I do have the potatoes in these pots in front here. Got some oak trees as well. And the potatoes are looking okay. One set of my potatoes in the pots must have gotten affected by that frost that we had, that late frost, and so it died off. And I've planted something else in there. I've planted some primrose in there because I was taking out all these primrose plants from patch number 3, and yeah, I popped one in the pot that the potatoes died in. So that's patch number 1. It's not really anything to look at. So let's go to veg patch number 2. Okay, here we go. And I'm really, really proud of this garden because I've been taking good care of it and it's looking pretty lovely after that rain. I've got so much in here that you would have seen in the last tour that I did. So I've missed doing a tour in October. It was just a very busy month, but let's take you through the rows. So I've got 5 rows in each of these plots, and let's go for it. And it's starting to spitter again, but let's persevere. I have these calendula plants in the front here, which I have been harvesting all the calendula flowers from, but as you can see, they're getting quite small now. They're losing, the plant's losing its energy, and it's putting it into making all this seed instead. So got lots of seed drying off. And I've got some dill also in this patch, so that's all dill there. I've actually got some dill flowers. A ladybird just there, right there. So yeah, these are the flowers, the dill flowers. And then I've got many, many more calendula plants that are coming up right next to these, which came from the seed from this big one over winter. And one cornflower plant as well. One Savoy cabbage. That's not doing so well, that one. I don't think we're going to get much from that. Then we have some Greek oregano. I wish you could smell this. It smells delicious. It is so good. Some of it has browned off. I have a feeling that's because I cut out and pulled out some plants that were growing, or some veggies that were growing around it. So I think some fennels and that I pulled out. So I must have pulled out some of the roots as well. Okay, oh wow. All right, so friends, I have not yet seen any caterpillars or moths in my garden, but here we go. The first one, and of course it would be on this cabbage that I was going to pick the other day, and as you can see, these leaves are coming away from it, so it will start going up to seed. But yeah, that's my first caterpillar for the year. I'm really amazed that I haven't seen any white cabbage moths flying around at all, but I need to harvest these and I might make some sauerkraut with them. I've got another cornflower plant sort of leaning over after all that rain. Okay, here I have a lovely new bit of garden to plant some more seeds. So I did plant some red spring onions here, and I planted them all along here up to that plant there, but clearly these ones have not survived. So I'm going to plant some more seed in there, probably plant some leek or carrot seed as well. And I'm finding all these little holes. I have a feeling that field mice, are coming into my garden because I'm finding these holes, quite a few holes. I hope that my dogs don't smell them and then start digging up the garden. Got some Mizuna here. This one's doing quite well, but these ones quickly went up to seed. So I need to pull those ones out. And then I've got my big, lush patch of common mint, which I could do another harvest from. But look, the ladybirds are loving the mint. They're so happy. I've got some spinach. So this spinach is going to seed. You can see it's starting to shoot its heads up because it's been in the ground for quite a while. There are a few tomato plants coming up as well. This one over here has already gone to seed, which I'm going to collect the seed from this one, hopefully, if it keeps surviving. And here's my chives patch, which you will notice quite a difference from the last tour. There are a lot of leaves on these chives and they are very, very happy. So I'm grateful that they have all made it through. Some of these just weren't showing any life at all. They had nothing coming up, so they've just sprouted up from the ground, which is lovely. Okay, and now we have a patch of potatoes. So these are the Dutch cream potatoes, and they aren't looking so great because I think they got affected by the frost. And perhaps they've had a little bit of sunburn too, but I think this is mostly frost damage. But as you can see, they're quite nibbled on, so I'm not quite sure what's nibbling them, but I have had issues with earwigs and slaters nibbling on my other plants, so maybe. But I have been spraying these with fish emulsion and seaweed just to give them a nice boost. But I need to have a little look. If anyone knows what else to put on potatoes, I need to have another look and see. Because I have adjusted the soils, but perhaps I've done it quite late in the day. Really, I should be amending the soils in autumn, ready for spring. So this soil here just might be a little bit more depleted than other parts of my garden. Chickens have laid some eggs and they're squawking. So sunflowers. I've planted more sunflower seed in this section here, and this one's come up all by itself, but I planted these seeds deliberately. And looking forward to some sunflowers coming up at the end of this row. And this compost desperately needs to be used because I need a new compost bin. We have got, the one that we're using at the moment is quite full, so I'm looking forward to emptying this one next week. And here is another spinach plant, but something must have knocked it over because it was looking really happy and now it looks like it's been sort of knocked over and it's dying. So I will probably cut that one out of the garden. And then we come to the end. We have some beautiful poppies at the end, as well as we did have some, let's see if I can move this leaf without getting stung. Just in there, deep in there are some dandelions which seem to have been taken over by this massive patch of nettle that I'm going to let go to seed. It's been hit so many times. So it got hit by the hail, absolutely shattered by the hail, and then it's sort of been hit by the frost as well. And I think perhaps also sunburn, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's not quite happy, but it will make some beautiful seed. This stuff here is quite happy, there's no black around it. And I've already had one poppy plant die off. It just wasn't getting enough water in that dry spell that we just had. But look, there are puddles in the garden. We have got water, we've had rain. Okay, my friends, so remember I had that frost. I have left some of these tomato plants in here because some of them have shot some green shoots down the bottom, but these ones haven't. So I have transplanted some tomato plants that came up all by themselves. So I'm pretty sure these are all cherry tomatoes. They're all the yellow ripple or ripple yellow currant, something like that. And so I have popped them along this space here. And then we come to this crossing. I'm going to try and not get too wet from, hear that raindrops falling from the coriander. I'm going to try and not get absolutely sopping wet during this filming. Okay, so we have coriander going to seed, some in row 2 and a whole heap in row 3. Okay, and more tomatoes. So this one, or these ones here, are ones that have come back. So this one's come back. See all the dead from the frost. And then we've got some new shoots. So I have to decide which one is the main stem. But at the moment, I'm just leaving them all because I don't want to cut anything off and then be in trouble. So this one's coming up down here. And this one also is coming up as well, which is great. Then we have our beautiful purple cornflowers, which the plant is at the end of its life. I haven't been deheading it as much as I should have been. So we're going to have lots of seed falling around, which is what I want. And also we've got some seed pods happening on these sweet peas. But these sweet peas will come back again because you just cut them at the base and their roots stay in the ground and they just keep coming back every spring. I did lose a few sweet pea plants because I had a few dotted down this row in particular and they haven't come back. So I think I accidentally must have pulled them out or dug them out by accident. So I put them next to the pole so I know where they are. I've got some fennel going to seed, which I need to chop out, but I'm leaving all this fennel here. I've chopped out quite a lot of fennel, but I'm leaving some of it just to shelter the garden until we are, out of reach of any of those late frosts. They just help to protect the plants from the frost and the sun as well until they're nice and strong and big. So these tomatoes I got from Bunnings. So these ones are Roma tomatoes and they're doing quite well. And on the other side of this row, I have planted some bean seeds, so quite heavily planted bean seeds along here. And then I've done a row of carrots as well. So I'm just utilising all the space and things might be competing later on, but let's have an experiment and see how it goes. The bean seeds are quite old, so not all of them will come up, perhaps, but we shall see. We shall see what happens. And I've also been putting down this sugarcane mulch down around all the plants that I've been putting in the garden. The sugarcane mulch I found at Aldi for $9 for a big bag, so I'm very, very excited about that. I went back and they'd all sold out though, so I should have gotten more than one bag. So I've got borage here, which is almost towards the end of its life, and some catmint. Okay, friends, we have more potatoes here, and these ones aren't looking so great. I think it's because of they're quite open here. They've been hit by the frost, but also they're yellowing off a bit. Yeah, I really need to have a look into why they're yellowing off. I have never had them yellow off before. And then I've got some radishes growing in the middle here. Remember, I planted a second batch of radishes, and they're looking almost ready to pick. We could possibly start picking some of those to put in salads. Oh, it's raining a bit more now. Got a big weed here I'm just going to take out. So I have got a potato here, potatoes all here. There's actually a kale right there, and lots and lots of a big plant actually of dandelions, but lots and lots of baby dandelions. So if you would like dandelions growing in your garden, let me know. If you're close by to the Castlemaine Bendigo area, let me know and I shall let you know where I am, and you can come and pick some up and plant it in your garden. Oh, look, more ladybirds. They're just everywhere. They are just everywhere. It's starting to really spitter now. I'm glad that my camera is under the shelter of my sun hat. So I've got more fennel here, which I'm going to walk through and get wet. And I've got all this kale that needs to be pulled out. It's gone to seed. I don't want it in there, but I'm not going to pull it out until I'm ready to plant other things in this space. So it is what it is. There's some weeds in there as well. And more potatoes. These ones are doing a lot better than the ones in the first row and the ones further down this row down there. But just a few little insect holes and a little bit of frost burn from that frost still showing on the plants. But hopefully the food that I'm giving these, it will come through and they will heal themselves and the insects will stop. Look, the new growth, they've already sort of stopped chewing on all the new growth that's coming through. It's just this old stuff here that, got hit by the frost. So let's see how they go. I've always had such a huge success with growing potatoes, and I've never really had them looking bad like this at this time of the year. So I don't know, let's have a see. I just might need to do some more adjustments to my soil. It's all about the soil, isn't it? Got some more dandelion plants over there. And coriander. Here's the big patch of coriander, and the ladybirds are loving this. I'm leaving most of this here. I've got one sunflower randomly coming up right here, so it's getting quite tall now. And then I've planted some eggplants here, so they're doing really well. Some eggplants here, and I plan to plant some carrot seed perhaps, or some spring onion seeds. I'll just have to have a look and think about what I plant in the middle here. More dandelions, and look, this is going to seed. I need to take this out. Clearly it's too crowded. It's leek and it's too crowded, and I'll show you this leek over here. I have planted separately and it's doing quite well, although a little bit fallen over after the rain last night. I've got some mullein here, which hasn't flowered yet, so it flowers in its second year, and this is the second year, so I'm very excited to see it flower. but also lots of space here to plant things, lots of dandelions again. And here's my failure. I failed to harvest all of this leek here, and now it's going to seed. But you know what? I actually need seed, so I'm going to leave some of these to sprout. Well, look, here's one that's about to burst out with its flower. They're just amazing, aren't they? Like, it's so awesome. But yeah, I don't need to keep all of these, so I might get rid of this patch here and leave a bit of this patch there. I've got some, I'm pretty sure this is pennyroyal. So it's coming back. It dies down completely in the wintertime, and then it comes back and it smells so lovely. Sort of a bit of a minty sort of smell. I've got lots of tomatoes coming up here. And what is this? Is that an echinacea? Maybe. I've got some, what do you call this? I'm going to put it on screen because I can't think of it right now. But that is an edible weed. And then I have all this valerian that has gone to flower, and it is looking so lovely. So it hasn't flowered before, and I'll be able to collect the valerian root, which will be fantastic. Oh, look, there's a damselfly. It'll be, it's fallen away. So yeah, it'll be lovely in teas. It is really starting to pour down now, I'm hoping. Spitter. I'll just get a little bit wet. I've also got some clary sage coming up here and going to flower soon, which smells so lovely. But I've been putting the valerian flowers in bouquets, and it's just beautiful. I can't wait to match it up with the yarrow flowers. So I've got pink yarrow out in the front garden, and that has already started to flower. But this white yarrow, which I use for medicinal purposes, which I have a heap of that I dried last year, so I don't really need to dry anymore. I'll probably dry a little bit, but it is slowly making its flowers. Here we go. They don't look fantastic. So that is row 3. Then row 4 is getting taken over by the wormwood, which is technically in the pathway between row 4 and row 5. But down here, I had some pumpkins growing that randomly came up by themselves. Here's one right here. I think the frost got some of these. So yeah, that one's been affected by the frost. I've planted some snap peas. So they're coming around nicely. Got some more coriander happening. Lots of cherry tomatoes just come up all by themselves, so I'm leaving those. And then here I have dug a channel, which Jackie's walking over, which I'm going to plant with something. I haven't decided what. But on the other side, I've planted a long row of sunflower seeds. So I'm going to have a nice sunflower wall going along here. And then we've got some beautiful tomato plants that my mum gave me. So these ones are mortgage lifter. That's a mortgage lifter one. This one here I had purchased from Bunnings before the frost, and it's kind of trying to come back, but it doesn't look too happy. It is a tigerilla. And then another mortgage lifter here. Oh, but here we have, with the sheltered by the fennel, and that's probably why this one survived the frost, kind of. It's coming back from the frost. It's got quite a healthy growth down here. But here you can see this is the frost damage that occurred. All right, lots of fennel that I need to dig out, but I'm leaving, and some random snow peas or peas that came up by themselves. And then I have here a red fig tomato, which is from my mum. Thanks, Mum. And these two I've been leaving, hoping that maybe they might sprout again, but I mean, this is a little bit of a, oh, it's just come off. It's kind of looks weird, doesn't it? It looks morphed. Bizarre. I've got one basil plant down here that survived the frost. And then I've got some random tomatoes down here, which I'm just leaving to see what happens. But I think I'll be replacing these two tomatoes. Okay, my friends, we are at the last row of vegetable patch number 2. These garden tours are quite long, but I hope that you get some inspiration from them. We've got this one to go through as well. We are halfway through almost. So I have got the most glorious looking. This looks so healthy and vibrant and beautiful. I mean, I almost don't really need to keep all the coriander patches in there because I'll get an amazing amount of seed from these plants here. So they're sort of multi-purpose. So I will collect the seed from them and use the seed in dinners and stuff. And I can use all of these flowers in salads. But they are also sheltering the lettuce. So these lettuces are getting sheltered nicely from the sun and they're doing really well. Just this one's starting to go to seed, but I'm going to collect the seed from this one. This one too is going to seed as well. These ones are all good. I might harvest the rest of those. And I don't usually plant cabbages at this time of year because of cabbage moth. I just take off those lower leaves are not serving the plant well. And I normally don't plant kale either. But these two have been protected by this netting, although I haven't had the netting on for a while now. And I've got my beetroot along here. So I'm just experimenting to see how this cabbage goes during the summer. And then I've got all these seedlings here that I should get in the ground today so that they can benefit from all the beautiful rain we're getting. I'm getting quite wet. I've got some basil here. So this basil's from my parents. I really need to cut that out so that it can bush up down the bottom. Got some purple basil as well. And some other little basils that sort of got hit from the frost, but they're bouncing back. So I should probably mention what sort of lettuces I have here. I have Paris Island Cos Green at the back here. And then in the front here, I've got red velvet. So the red velvet is just so lovely. I love growing some variations of colours and textures of lettuces. Got some more of the cos down here. And then this is the Amish deer tongue lettuce, which is starting to go to seed. And this one here, I'm not entirely sure what this is. If I remember to look in my seed packets, I will put the name on the screen. And remember that when I planted those radish seeds, I had some random seed in a packet that was labelled as radishes. And I thought maybe they might be beetroots, but they're looking like they're chards. Listen to that beautiful rain falling on my hat. I have got the labels have rubbed off, but I have written this down. That's why it's important to write things down. I've got some capsicums and chilies here. So they're 2 capsicums. I think they are 7 colour capsicums. And then these chilies, Thai chilies, I believe. And then I've got some zucchinis back here. So That is the Black Beauty zucchini, and this one is the golden zucchini, and this one got hit quite hard by the frost, and this one was okay. It was pretty good. So yeah, they're doing quite well. I can't wait for them to get much bigger though and actually start producing some fruit. Can't wait for the first zucchini. I've been seeing so many other people harvesting zucchinis who live further up north, and I'm slightly jealous. I've got some calendula here. So these are green heart calendulas. So they're an orange flower with a green middle. So I'm looking forward to those popping up. I've got some lemon balm here, which is not doing too well. Got a little bit affected by the frost, and now, you know, I need to prune it back because there's all this growth down here and in here is doing quite well. But I think it got a bit of sunburn as well as the frost. Okay, so these eggplants were doing very well before I went away. These 3 here I raised myself. I think they got affected by some heat stroke last Saturday when it was quite hot and I was away, so I wasn't here to cover them. But they are, that one's a Slim Jim eggplant, and these ones are Thai something or other eggplant, so I shall put it on the screen. I've got a random patch of tomatoes coming up over there, which I'm leaving until I'm sure that, you know, all of these ones are surviving. If they don't survive, I shall take from this patch here and this patch here and, you know, spread the plants around the garden. So this one here is a Lebanese eggplant that I got from Bunnings. There are a couple of tomatoes growing up here as well. And this one, what's this one? It's a Diggers Club one. It is, can you see that? It is a stripy eggplant. So got some different varieties of eggplants there. Okay, here I have planted out some spinach. And I got a punnet of spinach from Bunnings. I just got a bit crazy with all the tomatoes, and I got all sorts of other plants as well. I was like, why not? I spent, you know, a week's worth of grocery money buying seedlings, but it was worth it. And I have plenty of meals in the freezer to sort me out for, you know, that week that I spent that money. And then we've got carrots through here. So what sort of carrots did I plant? Purple dragon carrots. So I'm hoping they come up really nicely. This is pretty much the last month to plant carrots, carrot seed. And so, yeah, get your carrot seed in the ground. We've got some beautiful poppies coming up on the side. And now that I'm not putting the netting up, they can really just put on their show. These ones are quite wet from the rain, but there are more coming out. They might have gotten a bit damaged from the rain. Oops, it's already losing its petals and it hasn't even, oh dear. Dearie me, so sorry darling. Your friends will shine though. Got another ladybird on. Ladybirds everywhere. Okay, now this patch I am so pleased with. Bit of an experiment here, but yeah, these corn plants survived the frost and are doing so well. I have quite a few different varieties here, so I've planted them in rows. I shall put the names up on the screen of the ones that I have planted, but I've got some blue popping ones over here. And some of the plants that I put in of the blue popping ones didn't quite survive. So I have put more seed in the ground and hopefully they will come up. I've got one pumpkin that's come up by itself. And then another one over here as well. So I'm just leaving these pumpkins, and this one will probably just grow out here into the path. we'll have a bit of a wild garden by the time we get to autumn. Oh, these are looking so much better. So grateful. This one's looking so much bigger. I think it was about this size when I last looked. And now it's big. And this one was slightly smaller than this. This is an heirloom chili. So it could be any sort of heirloom variety. It's a mixed packet. This one here. Sorry, I'm not holding the camera all that well. And this is a jalapeno chili. So yay for those. I've got another patch of leeks, which are looking really happy and will hopefully get nice and fat before I harvest them. Another random pumpkin growing over there. We shall see what we get from it. We'll see. And then my patch of carrots. So these were the carrot seeds that I put in the ground before we had that massive hailstorm that came down, and I wasn't quite sure if the seed was going to be okay after the hailstorm, but it was fine. Got lots of different carrots in here, and I know they're all pretty small still, so nothing really to show yet. But they're looking so lush. I need to do a bit of weeding in here because I've got a few random tomatoes coming up. But that pretty much concludes patch number 2. So it's looking so lovely, so very green and full and just beautiful. And I'm so very grateful for all of your support and those who asked me if I wanted some of their tomato seedlings. Thank you so much. I managed to buy some and get some from my mum, some leftover ones, because she didn't have any room for them. She had them in pots and they were quite pot bound, so I'm grateful to get them in the ground. But there we have it. Don't look at the weedy, seedy grass in the front. I really need to cut that. But that is vegetable patch number 2. And now on to patch number 3. So patch number 3, I am much more on top of the front here. I've mowed it. I've started putting some cardboard down to keep the grass from growing into the garden. But this is still a work in progress. I still have not put manure all the way down row 3, all the way down row 4, and I haven't done any manure down row 5. So, and I also haven't done any of the straw down this row, the pathway, and the pathway down here either. So I need to finish that off, but it's looking pretty nice. Let's go and have a look and see what's here. Okay, so the start of row number 1, we have a massive patch of borage. You only really need to plant borage once and then you have plants for life. So I've got one coming up here, and we had garlic in here, so we've taken the garlic out. I have harvested all of my garlic now, and it's a very small amount of garlic. It's probably the smallest amount of garlic I've ever grown, but the cockatoos graced us with their presence and destroyed a lot of the garlics back in winter. So this is what we've got. Oh, I think I've missed a garlic in there because it's in amongst the borage that's just taken over. But here I have planted some zucchini seeds in the middle, and then I have planted some beetroot seeds along that row there and along this row here. So I'm just reading my little sticks here. So this is just a beetroot mix that I've planted here, and I'm trying to keep this grass out, but I really need to put some cardboard down over there. So that's what's happening there. I've got a parsley growing there still. And then we come to this magnificent, look at these plants. The health of these potatoes is so much better than the health of the ones in the other patch. So Yeah, maybe I've given a bit more. I definitely have put more into this soil because this is my oldest garden, and this one over here is still a work in progress. So all these potatoes, I've planted many different varieties, of which I will try and put on the screen. And down the middle, I have planted some seed, but not much has come up yet. So I've planted some lettuces. Oh, here we go. Here is one lettuce coming up. There is another one here and another one here, but I'm not sure if it was overwatering or because this channel got absolutely flooded out the other day when I accidentally left the irrigation on. So that's the red velvet lettuce. I might put some more seed down there. And then I put some spinach down here, and I've just got one spinach plant. So maybe some critters are eating the spinach as well. And a little bit of weeding to do over here. I've got that grass that keeps coming up. A grass must have been let go to seed last year and or last autumn. I've got some dahlias here which got hit by that frost, but it's coming back. So I'm going to have some flowers at the end of this potato patch. Ooh, I'm getting really wet now. Now down row number 2. So I have purchased some tomatoes from Bunnings. And these ones are tomato Tasmanian chocolate. Yum. So these are Digger's ones that are at Bunnings. Yeah, they're quite happy so far. I just planted them last night actually. So this one got hit by the frost, but it has a bit of a shoot coming out. What type was that one? This is the rainbow beefsteak mix. Another one from Bunnings, tomato, the Amish paste one. So excited for that one. I've planted these tomatoes quite close, and I'm just hoping that that will be okay. I generally leave, so I've got drippers. I've got one dripper, two dripper. I usually have a dripper in between, so I've got a dripper in between these two. So these two are a little bit closer. What have we got here? Another tigerilla, and what's this one? Principal, what is that one? Principal Portuguese. Sorry, I probably can't pronounce that one very well. Do I have 2 of those? Ooh, I'm getting very wet. Yes, 2 of those. So I've got 2 of those there. And then I've got this, I'm getting very wet now. I've got this ananas nor, if that's how you pronounce it. But this one's so pretty. So pretty. So I hope you grow really well, my darling. I'm going to take that lower branch off because it's touching the straw. Gosh, I'm going to have to cut this short and come back out again in a moment. Okay, I'm back out here and it is still spittering a little bit, but I need to get this done because I've got other things I need to do today. So I've got some cucumbers down here. Some of them were getting slightly sunburnt over the past few days. So, yeah, they're doing all right. I'm not sure about this one. This one's pretty badly sunburnt. But this rain might help produce some more leaves. However, I've planted more seed in the ground, so more cucumbers will come up if those ones don't survive. I've got some flowers on this tomato. I'm just going to prick them off. I think there's another bunch there. Prick those tiny little flowers off. I'm actually going to take this sucker branch off and make another plant. I might do that right now. I'm going to put it in my pocket and take it inside. This one is a black cherry tomato. So that's planted in there. I did have some rock melons in here, but they died from that frost, and I have not planted any more seed in here. There are some nasturtiums, but the nasturtiums are being eaten by bugs. So yeah, these are some late broadbean plants that my daughter planted, and they're producing some fruit, which she's very excited about. That one's been eaten into, but she's got some of the crimson ones as well, which were putting on quite a lovely show. And yeah, now they're producing some as well. And I'm hoping to save some seed from some of these broadbeans. And then I've got this massive poppy plant and borage and parsley in the pathway here. So I need to go around to get out of this row. So we might start at the south side of row number 3. We've got another compost bin here, which is looking a bit dry. Oh, there's some worms in there. I might leave it open for a little bit so that some of the water can go into it, some of the rain. So I've got poppies here, and they're absolutely lovely, or they were, but now most of them have flowered and they've got all of their seed pods, their beautiful heads, and I will harvest some of these to use as decoration, but I'm just going to let them dry and spread their seed some more. So we've got more poppies growing here, and then this big patch of thyme, which I have taken quite a bit from already. This rain might encourage some new growth. See, there's some lovely new growth coming up here, but I've just been leaving it for the bees, and the flowers are now dying off because they've been pollinated, and all this seed will soon drop from this plant. So I could harvest this part here. I might do a little bit of harvesting today and fill up my dehydrators. And here I've got Egyptian walking onions. So they're putting out their flowers. So here's the bulbs here that occur at the top, and then they just bend over and they put roots into the ground, and that's why they sort of call them walking, because they end up doing this sort of action. Here's some here that are, shooting up. They're just quite amazing. You've got little bulbs at the top, and they sort of make all these shoots come out of the bulbs at the top. Look at this one. Whee! That's awesome. So they're fun, and there's some younger ones down here which I can harvest and use just as I would use spring onions. And some more poppies. All these ones are the lovely ones with the black centre. And some more potatoes which got affected by the frost. So this is all from the frost. And I know this because I really noticed this patch after that heavy frost, that late frost that we had. So they're doing quite well. There's not really a lot of eaten leaves on this patch. The bugs tend to go for the leaves that are deficient. So that's why I think my other patch definitely has some deficiencies, but these ones are doing quite well. We've got a big primrose plant, and we've already got some beautiful yellow flowers coming from the primroses. These ones all came up from seed from primroses that I had over here last year. And then we've got a patch of leeks, but I have planted some seed in here. So I've planted some carrots and some radishes in amongst this patch of leeks that have come up all by themselves. And then we end with more borage plants, and there's also another primrose plant as well. Okay, row number 4. Row number 4 needs some work. I'll tell you that, it does. So I planted these capsicums before we had that frost. They've got a little bit of green on them, but I'm not sure. We shall see. Maybe they will come back because people do overwinter capsicums. And yes, I'm hoping that these will come back. I planted another capsicum. I did plant some pumpkin plants. This one didn't do too well. There's some more further down that are doing okay. Bugs are getting to them. I'll come up to those in a moment, but this capsicum was sort of getting a little bit affected by this, getting a bit of sunburn. So I did put sheets over these yesterday and that helped, but I will continue to put sheets over all of these when we've got a really hot day. And these pumpkins don't look so great. That one doesn't look fantastic. That one is one of the ones that went through the frost. These ones don't look that great, but they have got new leaves coming out, so I'm hopeful. Fingers crossed. This is one of the ones that got affected by the frost, and this one too, so it's looking all right. And I've got some endive going to seed here, and there's a ladybird on the endive just hiding in that leaf there. Oops, now it's flowing out onto the irrigation. I've got another leek going to seed there, and more leeks here as well. Another pumpkin that is not doing so well, and more that sort of got affected by sunburn but are looking much better. This rain will definitely help with all of that. And then we go into more poppies. So many poppies. Okay, the last row is quite wild. I have a lot of medicinal herbs in here. But in the front here, I've got some lettuces and some kales and some primroses and some calendulas, and this kale that's gone to seed. Look at these. They're looking lovely. These ones are perfect to harvest. I've got catmint. The catmint is looking beautiful. I'm going to let it go to flower, and the bees are going to absolutely love the flowers. Oh gosh, the rain's coming down again. I've got mugwort growing very high. I'm very excited to have that flower as well. Then I've got all these primroses and ladybirds in here. Calendulas, some grass. Yep, really need to get into here. I've got mugwort. Was that mugwort? Oh, I'll put on the screen if I can remember what this is. This is maybe anise. Oh gosh, this really needs some attention. I've got another Greek oregano plant down here. I've got lots of the strawberry spinach plants coming up as well. These are all old. These purple broccolis really need to come out. More poppies and more calendulas. And look, we've got chamomiles. This big patch of chamomile is just going to be absolutely covered in flowers in a few days. And I'm so looking forward to collecting the chamomile flowers. And then we just end with all these poppies and calendula plants and this massive, massive leek going to seed. Some red mustard here that's going to seed as well. I just let that go to seed and it comes up all by itself every year. I never have to plant it. But yeah, these poppies are going to get pulled out soon, and I'm going to put other things in here like rock melons and more pumpkins, maybe some sunflowers, but they're almost done. Gosh, it is raining so much right now, but I wanted to show you the apples. Look at the apples. There's so many apples on this tree. These ones have got a little bit of sunburn on them. But yeah, there are lots of apples on our trees. So some of them are earlier apples and some of them are later, and the later ones are smaller. And then over here, looks like a bird has been munching on this one already. And this one's got flowers again. And I do hope to show you more of the fruit and the fruit that we've got in the front garden as well in another tour, maybe a fruit tree tour. But right now it's pouring with rain and I really need to get inside, get my camera nice and dry, and get this tour up for you. So I will see you again soon, my friends. Thank you so much for coming along on this garden tour and watching the whole thing all the way to the end. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.